Welcome everyone to Life Beyond 6 Feet. I'm Damian Christie from Spooky South 507, and today I have a first guest of the show, spooky author V.S. Lawrence. Vanessa, welcome to Life Beyond 6 Feet.
Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, and for those that may not know, you have written a very paranormally themed book, and it actually caught my attention. I think I seen maybe an ad on Instagram, and it was
Mhm.
very eye-catching with the cover and the colors. Um, so that's kind of how I found you, and I was like, that's a really just the cover alone really stands out, and we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But first,
Okay.
like me, you're into like the spooky stuff, the scary stuff. So kind of what got you into like all the spooky, paranormal, Halloween type stuff growing up?
Um, it's kind of funny. When I was little, I was terrified of Halloween. I remember fighting my mom, being like, I don't want to go trick-or-treating. People are out there who are scary. I don't want to do this. Um, but I'm not entirely sure when it happened. I just know probably in my teens, I started reading Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles.
Hmm.
And I think that was kind of the thing that got me into it. When I was a little younger, I did read all the Goosebumps, but that's not scary, scary. I was able to do
Right.
that. But yeah, and so I think it was in my teens that first it was vampires, and then it was just everything I could get my hands on that was scary and spooky. And I'm still scared of everything, but I'm better at managing it now.
Right. Well, I guess everybody has to start somewhere. Like I don't remember ever really being scared of stuff as a kid. Like I've always remember like really being into it, but I really got into it in adulthood.
Hmm.
Um, like really got into the horror movies and all the spooky stuff. I mean, I've got Freddy and Jason and skulls and all kinds of stuff tattooed all over my arms. So, um, you mentioned Anne Rice's Vampire Chronicles. What's some of the horror stuff you really got into after that? Like,
Stephen
what
King,
are yeah,
Stephen King is like the gateway drug to horror.
right?
But I love the Freddy series. Like Freddy is probably one of my favorites.
That is my
And,
all-time favorite.
he's amazing. I love it. But yeah, I think it's just I'm definitely more on the lighter side of spooky.
Hmm.
I I don't like anything. I saw Human Centipede, and that's just not for me.
Oh,
Like,
see, I just never wanted to see that. It didn't pique my interest. I'm like, I don't think I want to watch that.
no, that was awful. That was a big mistake on my part. Um, but yeah, so I like things that are a little more campy.
Hmm.
Um, just give me all of the classics, Michael and Freddie and Jason. Jason, definitely. Jason
Right.
X is hilarious.
It really is.
So,
Yeah, the older horror movies, especially there in the early the 80s, early 90s, those are,
mm,
in my opinion, probably some of the best ones they've come out with. Because nowadays
definitely.
it's all the same stuff, just pretty much recycled over and over.
Yeah,
It's almost like Hollywood can't come up with anything new.
it's
And
true.
then, I mean, you'll occasionally get one here and there that's kind of like, oh, holy shit, that was really good. And then it goes back
Mhm.
to like, I was like, I've seen this before. So,
Yeah.
so what would you say is your favorite in the Freddy genre? Like, I know my personal favorite. I'm going to see if it's the same.
I mean, I think I love the first. I like a classic. I like just the OG. The remake of the first movie wasn't exactly for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, the remake wasn't terrible, but
It wasn't terrible.
I didn't like how they changed his backstory.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's like they tried to make you hate the character
Hmm.
when
Yeah.
it's like, my personal favorite is part three. Um,
Hmm.
I think everybody's favorite is either the first one or the third one.
Yeah.
But see, like number one for me is probably like my probably fifth favorite one, which is really weird, I guess, to some people. Because like New Nightmare, I love New Nightmare. That's like
Yeah.
that's my second favorite one in the series, and Yeah, number one, like it's good, but I don't know. It almost seems too campy for me, I guess. I don't know. It's weird.
I love the camp, so that's probably why.
Now, when we were chatting, just kind of getting this thing set up, I'd ask if you've ever had any paranormal experiences, and you said you have. So let's talk about that for a couple of minutes. What's some stuff you've experienced during your lifetime?
I have never had anything crazy happen yet,
Yet.
but yes. I remember my very first experience. I was probably about 7, and I was playing in the basement of my old house, and I saw the doorknob to the garage start to move. And I freaked out and I ran and got my dad, and he came down with his little BB gun and checked the whole house. There was nobody there. So I think that's the first thing that was like, oh my gosh, that was freaky.
Right.
Um, but in this current house I'm living in, I've definitely had some spooky things happened. I had another doorknob turning thing happen when I was in the bathroom, and I ended up staying in the bathroom for probably like an hour after it happened, just too scared to come out. Um, and I have seen at the end of my hallway, we have a full length mirror, like on the way to the bathroom. And I never look in that mirror because one time I did see like a 7 foot tall shadow figure over my shoulder. And that's another time I was like, I'm not coming out of this bathroom for a minute because I don't want to see whatever that was. I'm big into like debunking. So the next morning when the sun came out and it was not so scary, I looked around to see if there was anything that could have like made that shape behind me, and there wasn't anything I could see, so that one was fun and spooky. Oh,
it
I
it
don't look in that mirror.
I mean, it definitely is kind of shocking when you're not expecting to see something like that, especially in your own home and when you're
Yeah.
like by yourself. So, like, what was your initial reaction when you seen this tall shadow that you had no idea where the hell it came from?
I mean, my first thought was nope. Like, I don't want to deal with this. Um, like I did say, I am a big scaredy cat, which
Hmm.
is kind of funny coming from someone who loves the horror genre and everything spooky, but I am a big scaredy cat. So, yeah, my initial reaction to these kinds of things is just to say, I don't want to deal with this. I'm going to hide under my blanket. I don't want to deal with this. So, yeah, that's kind of my default reaction.
So, would you ever go on a paranormal investigation?
Yes, because even though I am scared, I want to do it.
Oh,
We
you
dropped
just
out.
yeah, you like froze on me for a second. I don't know if that was
Oh,
my end or your end. So,
I don't know. Yours kind of went black for a second. So hopefully it's not whatever's here.
but I mean, I'm at my mom's house because I have very terrible internet at my house, so I have to go somewhere else to do these
Mhm.
interviews, and we've had spooky shit happen here too. So
Oh, good.
my co-host on Beer, Booze, and Boogeyman, they actually call me like a ghost magnet because pretty much everywhere I've lived and everywhere I've worked, I've had experiences, had some
Hmm.
kind of experience. So I don't know if I just really am like some kind of a magnet for this stuff, or I just I'm lucky as you could say. But yeah, pretty much everywhere I've ever lived or worked, I've had some type of experience, whether just a one-time thing or like all the time. So it may have been on my end. So who knows?
I know that there are people who are definitely magnets. My sister is one of them. Same with her. Anywhere she moves, she's got stuff to deal with. But so that's fun for you guys.
I guess to an extent you kind of get used to it.
Hmm.
Like for me, stuff doesn't really happen to the point where like I've got to move or I've got to find another
Yeah.
job or I've got to get a priest to come in and like exercise my house. It's just like, oh, that door opened by itself. Huh. Well, was it closed all the way? Did the air conditioning just turn on? Like
Hmm.
I'm a big debunker too. So before I
Hmm.
just run away from it, I go towards it trying to figure out why it happened. And then if I
Yeah.
can't figure it out, I'm like, okay, maybe that was something. Um,
Hmm.
and we do the same thing because I have my own paranormal team. We do the same thing during investigations.
Right.
Um, like before we put it out there, like we'll try to debunk it in the moment on camera. That way, if we can't figure it out, if we do put it out, like, okay, well, we debunked this, we know what it was,
Yeah.
or it's on camera, you see us trying to debunk it, we can't figure out what the hell happened. Maybe somebody watching can figure it out.
Hmm.
Because, we're not engineers or carpenters or scientists. We don't know all the natural things that could be causing stuff. I think we know
Right.
some of the basic stuff, but yeah. Um, so if you ever went on a paranormal investigation, would you want to do like one with just you and a few of your friends, or would you like to do a public one where there's way more people?
Hmm. That's a tough one. I'd probably want to just do it with friends. I feel like a smaller group, you have less chance of some random person sneezing and not admitting that they sneezed.
Right. The, the
Uh,
the the public events can be fun
yeah.
if you're not if you're just wanting like say the experience.
Hmm.
But if you're wanting to actually go in there and actually do it,
Hmm.
I tell everybody stay away from public events because like you said, you're going to have so many people, you're not going to know if that was something paranormal or if it was somebody down the hall that just dropped their flashlight. You're not
Yeah,
going to really
exactly.
know what it is. So, um, I've done a couple of public events and it's just so chaotic with so many people. And plus,
Yeah.
you don't know, even though a lot of these places tell you, Ouija boards aren't allowed, this isn't allowed. When you separate and they let you go on your own, you don't know what these people are doing.
Yeah.
And, you know, I don't want to bring any negative stuff home with me to my wife and kids and all that stuff. So I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
at least when I go in and do it, I know that I'm not doing that stuff. So,
Yeah.
so how did you just get into to writing books? These spooky books you're starting to write. How did you get into that?
Um, I used to write a lot when I was younger. And then my 20s hit and reading and writing just kind of went out the window. But it was about, I'd say 2021. I needed a break from being a caretaker. And so I took a solo vacation to a remote cabin in Vermont. And I stayed there by myself for 2 weeks. And I was like, you know what? I'd like to write a book. I would really like to get back into writing. So I actually wrote two other books that were not good. They're just in the trash right now. And then I started writing 80s ghosts when I woke up in the middle of the night and I smelled hairspray. And I was like, it'd be interesting if there was a story about ghosts from the 80s
Hmm.
and you that they were around because you could smell their hairspray.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, so that's a fun idea. And I just started going with it and it's been a blast. So yeah.
That is definitely a different smell because normally when you hear a phantom smells, it's usually like a perfume or like a
Hmm.
cigar, something
Yeah.
like that. So that's a different twist on it. So that's so why the 80s? Is it because of your love for the 80s horror or just why the 80s?
It's just such a fun decade. Like
Hmm.
the music, the hair, the fashion, like the movies, of course, everything was just very, very fun.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, I think that, and also just I loved the idea of someone who passed in the 80s would probably have the smell of hairspray, and that's how you
Hmm.
would know that they were around. And I
Right.
was just, that'd be so much fun.
Right.
Yeah.
So without giving away too much about the book, because I'd rather people buy it and support you. So what's the basic concept of the book? Like what's the book about?
So it's set in 2009 when YouTube was just starting to really become a thing that people could get famous through.
Hmm.
And it's about a trio of ghost hunters, and they are trying to create a viral ghost hunting show on YouTube. Um, they have not had much success, and none of the places that they have investigated thus far have been haunted. So they've kind of had to create their own hauntings in the process, and their finances are not so good. They kind of everything is hinging on like the next couple of investigations. So when our main character Chrissy gets an email from someone in the next state saying that there's a high school that they take care of, it burned down in the 80s. There are definitely spirits in this high school. Will you please come and investigate? She's super excited. She's like, we need to make this huge. This is like everything is going to ride on this. We got to make sure that it's good, bring all of our tricks if we need to, but I think it's pretty good chances that there's going to be an actual ghost in this location. So she and her team pack up, they head out there, and things start to unravel pretty quickly, and her team starts acting a little weird, and yeah, things just kind of escalate from there.
Now, how did you come up with the cover of this? Because, like I said, it's very eye catching, very 80s style with the hot neon pink. And how did you come up with the cover? Because that's what caught my attention initially. I was like, well, that's very bright. And then I got to realize, well, this sounds kind of interesting. Let's check this out. So,
Yeah, I looked high and low trying to find the perfect cover designer. Um, because I knew I wanted it to have a certain vibe. It's 80s, it's ghosts, you
mhm.
know, has to be super bold and fun. And I actually discovered my cover designer, and her company is we got you covered book design. And everyone should go look out at her stuff because she's amazing, fantastic. Just knocked this out of the park. All I told her, I gave her the blurb for the book, and I said, I want bright colors. I definitely want pink. It's my favorite color. Um, but other than that, go for it. And she knocked it out of the park. Like as soon as I got the proof, I was just like, nothing needs to be changed. That's perfect. Just
Right.
amazing. So I feel super lucky to have found her. I've got her lined up for my next book, which is exciting. So
Well, like I said, it's definitely an eye catching book cover, and that's what you want on anything you do. You want something to grab somebody's attention so they will catch it and be like, okay, well, what is this about? Because this
yeah,
has caught my attention. And the cover definitely does that. So if you're
it
looking
does.
online or you catch it on Instagram or see it in a bookstore, that's going to draw your attention, and you're going to want to pick it up and check out and see what it's about. So props to her for coming up with something so eye
Serious.
catching like that. So
Oh yeah.
and so obviously you've written the one book. You said you've written a couple others that you kind of tossed out. So obviously there's more plans for other books as you've already kind of touched on it. What is your next book gonna be about without giving away too much about it?
The next one is going to be an all girls summer camp slasher. Um, and it has a little bit of a twist, which I won't spoil because I'm so excited about it, but I I can't tell anyone, which is awful, but also very exciting.
Right. So
I've got that one planned. I've got something that's also a little more Goosebumps-esque
nice.
coming that's kind of about a haunted pumpkin field.
Oh,
And yeah, that should be so much fun too. I like the vibes for it in my head, so I'm hoping I can translate them to
right.
paper. But yeah, so I've definitely got a bunch of ideas that are turning around up there, and I just hope I can write them fast enough.
That's always I guess the biggest downfall is finding the time to actually sit down and do it. Because I've
Yeah.
tried several times myself to put all of my personal experiences to paper.
Hmm.
And, because I've been experienced to stuff since I was like 3 years old.
Hmm.
So I have a
Wow.
lot to talk about. And I'm
Yeah.
like, even if it's just 100 pages, you know,
Hmm.
that's still, a short book. And I'm like, I could easily do 100 pages. So I'll sit down and I'll get into typing stuff. And the last time I done it, I think I got maybe what I would think would probably be about 6 pages done.
Hmm.
I was like, all right, I'm done for the day. I'll pick this back up tomorrow, and tomorrow has never come.
Yeah.
And that was like 2 years ago.
Oh, it's rough finding the time and the motivation.
And I don't think I have. I thought I had saved it on a flash drive, and if I did, I can't find it anywhere.
Oh no.
So I'm like, because of the way I had everything worded sounded really good, and I'm like, now if I can't find that, I got to start completely over. And I've even tried to sit down and write just a totally, fiction book,
Hmm.
and I got about 10 pages into that. I had a title for it. I had characters already made. I did find that on my old laptop about a month ago. So I'm like, that's still kind of there.
Nice.
So like it was going to be called When Hell Howls. It was going
Ooh,
to be about this dude who is pretty much haunted and tortured by this, but by the spirit of a witch.
nice.
Like he's hearing all the he comes home and he's hearing all this stuff, and he hears a dog barking in his house, and he got to realizing, okay, my dog's right here beside me. I better go check this out. Walks
Hmm.
inside, finds where the sound's coming from, opens a closet door, and finds his dog like completely dismembered.
Oh no.
And he looks over, and like his dog, but he thought it was his dog, had like turned into something else, and like he hauls ass out of his house. And it's like I had a really cool story in my head, and I,
Uh-huh.
I banged 6, 7 pages out, and then just stopped, and that was like 10 years ago. So
Well, I am all for you writing this because now I want to know how it ends.
it's like I said, it's just one of those things where I have to have the time, because
Yeah.
with what I do for work, I work 48, 50 hours a week,
Hmm.
come home, to a wife and 3 kids. And when I actually have a day off and I tell myself I'm not going to do anything today whatsoever, I'm constantly going, like I can't, it's like I can't sit still. Like
Yeah.
I gotta be going, gotta be going, gotta be going. So maybe one day I'll actually stop and just say, okay, I'm going to take a few days. Everybody leave me alone. I want to do
Yes.
this. So when is your next book? When do you have an expected release date for that, or a timeline you're hoping to have it out by?
It'll probably be next May. Um, I am still writing and working on that, and it'll be a fun summer read.
Mm-hmm.
So I figure that gives me enough time. And if I don't get distracted, then hopefully I'll have the pumpkin one out by next fall. So it'll be a lot to try and do that, but uh yeah, let's just hope I don't get too distracted and
Right.
keep this.
Well, the other ones already they both sound intriguing already, and I don't even know anything about it. Like a haunted pumpkin field, that's completely different. Like you wouldn't think of something like that. Like when you think of outdoors, you think more or less of a haunted forest or a haunted
Mhm.
lake. But that sounds interesting. And if it has a goosebumpish type feel to it, I'm all for it because I loved those books as a kid.
Oh, they're so good. Like I still have my entire collection over there. Just
I wish I did. I had damn near all of them. And then
oh
when I got older and moved out, I was like, oh, I don't need those anymore. And I found myself buying some off eBay and going to used bookstores. So I have a few of them, but not like I used to. Oh,
did you have a favorite?
my favorite was Ghost Beach.
Nice. Yes.
That was I don't that I was always more into the haunted, the
Hmm.
ghost ones more than the dummy ones or stuff like. I was always more drawn to the ghost ones, but that was my absolute favorite. One Night in Horrorland, I love that one.
Yeah.
Um,
So
I
good.
actually, I actually got a shirt with that on it, so
That's
uh,
awesome.
that was one of my favorite ones. The Werewolf of Fever Swamp always really
Hmm.
stuck out to me. The earlier ones I really liked. As he kept writing, they kind of got
Hmm.
a little bit more far fetched, and but I did really like the ones he did there towards the end where you kind of choose where you wanted what you wanted to do.
Yes, I love choose your own adventure books. They are so much fun.
So it's like go to page 20 if you want to save this person, or go to page 52 if you want to let them leave. And I'm like, and I would always go back
Yeah,
and
of course.
like I'm like, which do I really want to do? So yeah, those are always fun. And maybe hell, maybe that's something you could do down the road too. You never know.
I know. I would love to. I feel like the brain power to be able to figure out how to do that. I
Right.
don't think my brain works that way.
So if somebody wanted to sit down and write a book, whether it's about their life, something totally made up, what advice would you give them to accomplish that?
You just do it. I waited so long. When I went, like when I started college, I wanted to go into English. I was like, I'm going to be an author. And a lot of people are like, you can't make money doing that. That's not a viable career path. Choose something better. And I tried. Um, so I wish I had started earlier. So just doing it is really the way to go, even if you can only sit down for 5 minutes or you can only get 2 sentences done a day. Just plug away at it little by little. And the more you write, the better it will get. And the more you read, the better it will get. So, reading as much as you can and writing as much as allowed, just do it. Like, it's super fun. And even if you never put it out for the world, it's a huge accomplishment to write a book or a memoir. It's huge and like something very much to be proud of. So, yeah, I mean, I wish I had told myself back in the day, like, just ignore what everyone said and just write, have fun. So, I guess that's it.
Right. I mean, that's definitely solid advice because, you know, people like me who just keep putting it off and putting it off and putting it
Yeah.
off. And I'm like, I really want to do it, but I don't have time. Finding the
Yeah.
time is always the biggest issue, at least for me.
Hmm.
Like even when I was single, like I just never felt like I had the time to sit down and do it because one, I
Yeah.
worked all the time.
Hmm.
And by the time you get home, you're like, I don't want to do
Oh, yeah.
anything. And it's just, I don't know. I've
Well,
had
I know
several
some
people,
people.
I've had several
Sorry, go
people tell me, I've had several tell me that like you need to finish what you've been writing. So I'm like, maybe one day.
ahead. I know a lot of people dictate while they're driving. So, if you've got to commute to work, just put your phone on record and just tell your stories to your phone. And that's I couldn't do that because I am so bad at talking. I am always stumbling over what I say, and I'm like, oh, I could have said that better, like so much
Right.
better. So, but it works for a lot of people.
I've never actually thought of that, but I don't have a very long drive to work. So it's
Mm.
like I have maybe a 15-minute drive. So,
15 minutes, you could say a few words.
right.
Just chip away at it slowly.
Right. So, do you have anything coming up? Any kind of conventions you may be going to, or book signings you may be at, or anything like that? Anything upcoming?
Not yet. I'm hoping that in the next couple of years, once I have a few more books under my belt, I will start doing that. I am super excited though because I am going to a writing retreat in Salem
Oh,
this fall.
nice.
I'm going to be staying at the Hawthorne Hotel, which is apparently quite haunted. So I may have some fun stories after that. I'm hoping. I've requested to be on the sixth floor, which is apparently the most haunted. So fingers crossed.
You might have to take you a couple of pieces of paranormal equipment with you just to kind
I
of,
hope.
get you a recorder and yeah, get you
I think I will.
some of the little LED cat balls.
Mm-hmm.
So just see what happens.
Yeah, I'll have to connect with some of my ghost hunting people around me and see if they've got anything I can take with them.
Yeah, like I said, the simplest thing you could have during an investigation, and probably the best piece, other than your own like feelings and senses and stuff, would be a digital recorder
Mm-hmm.
because you're more likely to capture an EVP than you are to actually capture something on film.
Yeah.
Um, so the only downfall is say you keep that recorder going all night, is sitting down and listen to the 8 hours of you sleeping to help you capture something. So, but that should be fun. And in Salem, that's really awesome.
Oh, I'm
That's
so excited.
that's on the old bucket list for me to make it up there one day. Even if I don't go up there to do any kind of investigating, just to go there and
Yeah.
experience the town itself is definitely on the bucket list. And my wife wants to check it out too. So
Yeah, definitely. I've definitely wanted to go there for a long time and I'm stoked.
now, if people want to buy 80s Ghost, how could they go about doing that?
It is available on Amazon as a paperback, ebook, and it's on Kindle Unlimited. It's also being sold through like Barnes and Noble and I'm not sure all of the other small bookstores online that it's available. And also, if you want a signed copy, I have a link in my bio on Instagram or Threads where you can go to my link tree and there's uh, a link a link for my website where you can buy a signed copy. So yeah, it's kind of available out there and it's doing better than I ever expected. So I'm so grateful for everyone who has given it a chance. I know it's hard to pick up a book from an unknown author,
Right.
you know. Uh, so I'm just so grateful that people have been interested and enjoyed it and had fun. That's
Right. Well, I did check out a couple of reviews, and so far I've seen a lot of positive reviews for it. So that's always a good thing.
yeah.
And of course, you got to take into an account that it may not be for everybody. So you may get
No.
that negative review here and there, but
Yeah.
for every bad review, there's going to be 10 good reviews. So you got to take
Yeah,
the
it's
good with the
all good.
bad.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
so other than Instagram and your website, are you on any other social media where people can look you up and follow
I
along
am
with your
also
journey?
I'm on Threads where I post more like milestones and writing updates. I just started a Facebook page, which I'm terrible at, but I try to post there occasionally. But yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram and Threads. So yeah, anyone can find me there if they're interested, and if not, that's cool too.
All right. Well, I really enjoyed chatting with you and getting to know you a little bit, and I look forward to checking out your book. I'll have to figure out a way to get it in my hands here soon. So
I'm happy to send you a copy.
that would be amazing.
Yeah.
Um, so everybody, be sure to check out Vanessa V.S. Lawrence, since there is another Vanessa Lawrence. V.S. Lawrence's book, 80s Ghost. Easiest way to find it is probably just type in 80s Ghost in Google, and it's probably going to pop up everywhere you can buy it, everywhere you can locate it. So that's probably the quickest way, I would say. Probably the easiest way.
Yeah.
Just Google it and just check out that cover. If the cover catches your attention, buy the book. Support Miss Lawrence in her endeavors. There it is, right there. See, that's just an eye-catching cover. It's so rad. I dig it.
I love it.
All right, so everybody be sure to go check her out, follow her along on Instagram, check out her Facebook, even though she's not too good at keeping up with her right now, and buy her book. So, everybody, Vanessa, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a blast.
Absolutely. Everybody, we'll catch you next time and stay spooky.